starting the Open Space Committee meeting. It's 1:05 on September 20th, 2020, and we are being videoed. Has everyone seen the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve of the minutes from the July 19th, 2020 meeting. Two T's. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Okay, now on to the open space.
Okay. So I gave you all a packet of what we're going to discuss today. I figured we'd start off with a review of the forum, both parts of the forum. Then I'll briefly go over the ADA walks.
Did I get a packet?
Did I get it?
There. Yep.
And then I figured we could start in on our action plan. It's probably going to take us at least 2 meetings to develop the action plan because we'll first need to come up with all the actions, and then we'll need to determine who's going to be responsible, what's the priority of the actions, timing, stuff like that. So that can take at least 2 meetings to do. And especially because we want to review the feedback we got at the forum and that we got during our survey first, just to make sure we include those actions, if we feel like they are applicable. And then any additional actions that you all have, we'll want to make sure we get down. And then from our ADA assessments, if there's any actions that we can think of just by looking at those properties, we'll incorporate those as well. So all that I anticipate at least 2 meetings, hopefully only 2, but it can get kind of tedious going through, especially the bigger your action plan is, the more extra stuff that you have to think about. All right, so let's start off with the public forum. So we had that broken up into 2 days, presentation on, what was that, the 24th, and then the workshop on the 27th. So on the 24th for the presentation, we had 14 attendees, 10 in person, 4 virtual. And then at the workshop, we had 18 attendees. And some of those overlapped from the presentation, and that does include the open space members as well. But I thought it was very well attended, and I think we got a lot of good feedback from it. Let's see here. The photo contest, I counted those out. So there was 3 that were our top 3. And then the other ones got, 1 or 2 votes. So number 11 got 7 votes, so that's our winner. Number 9 got 5 votes, so very close second. And then number 7 had 3 votes. Those were our top 3. So this one will be the cover. We'll include all of them, but since these ones were more highlighted, we'll try to get them in a couple different spots too, or some more highlighted spots. Okay. Any disagreement on the photo? Okay. Okay. What's next? Okay, so at the workshop, we had those 2 big sticky pads where we really asked for some feedback. So I typed all that up. Typed all that up. Anything that has a star next to it, it either had a sticker or a check mark next to it to indicate that other folks felt the same way. So that's what those are. Obviously, the more stars there are, the more check marks or stickers there were. So more support for that item. So I'm just going to read through them and, take note of some of these things. Some are just sort of statements about open space in Douglas. Some of them might be some actions that we'll want to think about when we get to that next part of the meeting. Okay, so what do you enjoy about open space and recreation in Douglas? Trunkline Trail, a lot of support for that. Trails at Wallum, access to Wallum for boating, trails off of Route 16, sidewalks on Main Street, unpaved trail, all unpaved natural trails for passive recreation, including dog walking, horseback riding, hiking, and mountain biking. Also a lot of support for that one. Opportunity to enjoy nature and the serenity and health benefits it offers. Showing my son these areas and always having new places to explore together, and kayaking. So just sort of at first glance, definitely favoring unpaved trails over paving trails, but having access to trails and access to boating, kayaking, water resources really kind of stands out to me. Okay, let's see. So what the next question we asked folks at the public forum are what improvements, new facilities, or programs would you like to see? Bathrooms, there was a lot of support for that. Parking, especially at trailheads. Sidewalks, there was a note that they end at Franklin Street, so they'd like to see more sidewalks around town. Concerts on the Common, or free concerts and movies on the Common. Again, more support for sidewalks along major roads for bikers and walkers. Regrading the trunk line trail but unpaved. So, fixing the trail but not paving it. Better markers on trails in the trunk line trail and trails off of Route 16 in the state forest. Trail maps and destination stops. Trash cans for doggy bags near trails. Improved and expanded parking near trails. And there was a note, expansive enough for safe horse trailer parking, as well as for cars and trucks. Plan for greenways to connect trails and open space, part of a development plan for the whole town. Increased development of town land parking and trail access, and coordinated efforts to increase trail development and access between open space committee and land under their purview and town-owned land. Again, more support for sidewalks and connecting them to different areas of the town or by trails. There was a note about Bellingham Common as an example for what they might like to see Douglas Common look like in the future. There was a note for an expansion at Martin Road Park, and that because it's in the middle of nowhere, some moms are nervous about taking their kids there. Blue zone, I'm not really sure what that was referring to.
That was, someone was saying that you can, like, if the whole town gets together, you can make it a blue zone, which is sort of a, perfect town.
Okay. Development saving trees. I'm not sure if anybody had a more elaborate conversation about that. I assume maybe.
When they have a development going in, they tend to clear cut everything.
Okay, so promoting saving.
Accordingly to,
Just put the house on the lot and move the rest of the trees out.
Okay. And then community garden space. So wanting a community garden. All right, so that is really the recap of at least the notes that I have from the forum. Any reactions to the forum, positive, negative? Any comments that weren't listed here but you might have heard folks talking about during the forum?
Not really.
Okay.
I thought everybody was pretty positive about it though.
There's no surprises here, right?
No,
Okay, that's good.
I feel like we're on the right track according to what everyone wants,
Yeah.
so.
At least we got the right people there anyway.
Okay, great. And anything from the suggestions here that stand out as potential action items? And so the way we can set up the action plan, we can include all the suggested actions that we get, or if you feel like some of these might not be feasible, might not be worthwhile to put down, then, we don't have to include everything. I sort of leave that up to you all.
I mean, if the state owns the Sinet,
Yeah.
a lot of this is under the state purview per se, so.
So I would say for things that the town doesn't own, of course you can't just go on somebody else's land, whether it's the state or a private landowner, and tell them what to do. But there's ways that we can word that. So, for the SNET specifically, we could say something along the lines of coordinate with the state to not pave the trail but resurface it, or.
Well, actually, the building inspector yesterday said that it's not gonna happen.
Okay, well, that's good.
But actually having this in an open space and recreation plan that the residents in this town don't want that
Right.
paved
Yep.
would be like huge for,
And it's filed with the state
For
and
the-
everything.
fight for that.
Yeah, into for 7 years.
Alright, so we'll highlight this one.
Perpetuity.
It's important. So yeah, so I'd say anything that, and you know, that might come up a lot in some of the other suggestions we get from the survey of like, it's state-owned land or it's a private owner. So if we want to include that still, if we feel like we agree with that action, it's important. There's ways we can reword that. Again, the town might not have the jurisdiction, but we can say, you know, work with private landowners or work with the state to promote this idea.
Really, the top 4 on the what do you enjoy are all state, pretty much.
There are trails off of Route 16.
But that's state, most of them.
It's all
West
state,
of-
but maybe they don't know. Oh, yeah, that's right, 16 goes all the other way, which explore tunnel land for that, so.
Yeah.
All right, so why don't we put a pause on this, and I'll just briefly recap the ADA walks. So we completed our walks yesterday. It was pretty easy. Not a lot of the facilities in town, you know, that you've seen the checklist. It's pretty long, pretty tedious, and not a lot of the facilities in town have those amenities. So it was pretty easy to get through.
What properties did you do yesterday?
We did, let's see,
Manchog.
Manchog,
Mumford,
Mumford,
the Common.
yep, the Common, and the soccer fields.
And we decided that U Street didn't have anything worth looking at. But
Yeah.
I did notice that on this map that there are 2 more right in downtown East Douglas that do have a panhandle. One's at the end of a dead end.
Okay.
And one has a panhandle to reach, to get to it, which, you know, they are accessible.
Okay,
I could go by them on my way home and see
Sure.
if they're even, you know, visible.
yeah, I'd
visibly
say
so.
again, you know.
See if there's a trail into it or anything.
Okay. Yeah, because again, just a reminder on the ADA assessments, it's town-owned land, specifically conservation or recreation land, so lands that are protected sort of in perpetuity for those purposes. And then additional layer on that is that there's some sort of public access, or you know, you're encouraging residents to use, or other stakeholders to use this property. So things that might just be like a protected forest area where there's no trails, there's no parking, there's no access, though people could probably, you know, walk through the forest if they want to. There's no like actions that the town are taking to bring people to that property. So for those, we don't have to do the ADA assessments, but for those other properties, we will. So yeah, if you want to swing by those areas and see if there's, you know, trails there, parking, any other amenities that we'd want to look at, we can schedule some additional ADA walks. Okay, so yeah, so those are taken care of. I didn't have time to type up the just some sort of suggested actions that I have off the top of my head from yesterday, but so at our next meeting, I'll have some suggested actions we can talk about, and if we feel like they're appropriate to include, we'll put those in the ADA plan as well. Mostly, from what I could tell, it's just signage at some of the trails, just to make it more clear of, you know, what the property is and sort of how to
Little
move.
map, so
Yep.
we know whether to go left or right.
Yep, trail maps for sure. You know, potentially some maintenance of the trails so that they're a little bit wider, more accessible. You know, clearing up some of the tree limbs that have fallen, things like that. And then for our properties that have a little bit more amenities, some ADA designated parking or a handicap accessible parking, things like that. But for the most part, the properties, you know, there's not a lot of amenities there aside from just parking, and there's a field or there's trails, so sort of limited in what we can do with that.
A pipeline goes under that field.
Oh, okay.
Could have looked at over the hill from on Manchog Road. Which someone hazed that field too.
Okay, any questions?
Ken, yeah. Ken would like to know, it should be, they should have like a little clause to say, if anything happens to them on town-owned land or something like that. I was thinking maybe Lisa would
My first guess would be the people that have the cows right
Right.
next to it.
That was Mumford,
know.
right?
And the lazy fence, yep,
No, Manshaw.
Okay.
yeah. Very good.
Okay. Any comments, questions about the ADA assessment? Nope. Okay, so along with the ADA assessment, the checklists are really the tedious part. There's also some other documents that we need to go along with that. So just a document from the town that states who the ADA coordinator is. Let's see, what else do we need?
I can get that.
I don't want to forget anything. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we need the designation of the ADA coordinator, a document stating what the grievance procedures are. So this is the procedure for the general public to follow in the event that a complaint is made, and then public notification requirements. So usually, I think those are somewhere in the town's bylaws or charter. But if you can't find those, let me know. I can send you some examples that I have from other towns. If the town doesn't have some, I assume the town has something set up already. But if they don't, I can send you some examples for how the town might want to set up those documents.
Okay.
And then, we should be good to go with the ADA assessment, which is nice. That's usually a big hang up for other towns that I work in.
It's good we don't have any facilities.
Well, it's not, most of the towns out here, they don't have a whole lot of facilities with all those amenities that we mentioned. It's just sort of pulling teeth to get them to come out and do the assessment.
Yeah.
Okay, so if there's no other questions about that, then let's move into our sort of action plan exercise. And again, we're probably not going to get through it all today. There's sort of a lot to go through, and I'm anticipating this will take at least two meetings to finalize our action plan. But let's see. So on the last page is just a reminder of what our draft goals and objectives are. So we'll run through that quickly. Goal number 1, and they're not in any particular order. Preserve the rural character of the town. And our objectives are to protect and promote local agriculture, retain private forests and trees, maintain historic character and scenic resources, and prioritize open space preservation. Goal number 2, protect the town's natural resources. And our 3 objectives are fortify surface and groundwater resources from adverse impacts, maintain and increase wildlife habitats and corridors, and retain the native ecosystem and reduce urban pollution. Goal number 3, build the climate resiliency of the town. And our 3 objectives are reduce flooding and stormwater concerns, strengthen the awareness of extreme temperatures and drought impacts, and reduce impacts caused by winter storms and severe storms. Goal number 4, improve the town's recreation opportunities. And our 3 objectives are to maintain and expand active recreation facilities and programs, promote and expand passive recreation opportunities, and provide recreation opportunities to a diverse range of interests and abilities. And our last goal is to increase public engagement, knowledge, and utilization of the town's resources. And our 3 objectives are to expand and promote cultural and arts opportunities, increase the utilization and awareness of the town's resources, and develop local and regional partnerships. So as we're running through, the suggestions we got at the public forum and in the survey, just try to keep those in mind, and we're going to try to sort of reorganize all the suggestions that we got to fit into these goals and objectives sort of the best we can. Okay. Let's see. So, let's start back again. Oops. With the public forum suggestions. Let's see. What'll make more sense if I run through each of these and then we can sort of place them in, or do you want to just sort of run through and highlight ones that you want to keep in? What makes more sense?
I think the highlighting is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you can
All right. So yeah, why don't you take
make
some,
that.
take the next couple minutes and highlight some actions that we want to plug in, and then we'll just sort of go around and I'll put them into our draft action plan here.
And you're numbering yours?
Oh, just like, where am I gonna put them?
And when you're done, just let me know.
Like a test.
Yeah. Put your pencil down.
Grade your
You
work.
remember those tests, yeah. You've been busy. Oh, I forgot the other page. See.
like 1 more minute if you're still finishing up.
Just trying to figure out what to do about sidewalks. Seem to be a very important thing to a lot of people, but I don't know where to put that.
Okay.
I put it under E because it'll help utilization of the towns. Have some walk through town more.
That would be,
Oh, I could do
be
swear.
partnerships with, when they're doing the road work, it needs to be included, put sidewalks in.
Right.
All right, does anyone want to start with the actions they identified? Don't all jump at once.
I'll jump. What, do you want the listing of the priorities, or I thought trail maps and designation stops, being that person.
Okay. Where did you stick that one? In E?
That's
Oh,
right.
wait, okay, never mind, I didn't put them in E.
Oh, that's, we
why
can,
I
we can
put
talk it
first.
out.
Yeah,
We can,
I did that.
That's where I put it,
That's
yeah.
why I
In
did
E.
it,
Yeah.
Okay, so where did we put that? Awareness, maybe?
Yeah, EB,
Okay.
EB.
All right, so develop trail maps with destinations or attractions. Okay.
And then-
And we don't have to prioritize them. I should have said that earlier. So we'll do that. We'll prioritize. Once we have all of our list of actions, I think that'll be easier to determine the priority of them.
More like short-term, long-term, too, type of.
Yep, we'll be doing all that. So we'll identify responsible parties. It doesn't hold, so if we say, you know, the planning board is responsible for this action, it doesn't really hold them to it, just a suggested, hey, this would be, you know,
fit for you?
a good fit. Yeah, right, exactly. So we'll do that. We'll prioritize them, so high, medium, or low, and we'll define sort of what that means to us. And then we'll also determine the timing, how long we think or expect those actions to take, whether it be short, you know, maybe a couple of years, medium, a couple more years after that, or long, or even ongoing efforts, which you might think of invasive species management. So we'll do that at our next meeting, because that can be pretty lengthy in and of itself. And it helps to get a sense of what all your actions are so you can better prioritize them.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people brought up things like, you know,
Yeah.
Climate change.
Yeah, I
and
think
stuff
most
like
of the
that.
suggestions we have are really going to fit into our D&E, so improving the town's recreation opportunities or increasing public engagement. So we might be able to sort of finagle some of those into the other goals, but that's probably where we're going to have to come up with some of them.
I put like development saving trees under A for
Yep.
maintaining,
Retain, yep.
maintaining private.
So what would that be? Sort of developing like a tree protection bylaw or something like that?
Didn't we talk about that, like somehow getting it in the planning that they have to leave as much trees as they can?
Yeah,
I don't know if that would be a
There is-
bylaw or what that would be.
there is, I remember a town meeting way back that they had, you know, they wanted to vote on, like, you had to get a permit or something to get your trees taken down, and it was a lot of uproar. But it didn't have to do with development and
Yeah.
stuff like that. It was after you already owned the land,
Yeah.
and, you know,
Gotcha.
they didn't want to be told what you could do on it.
Now, which one is that one, Kathy, you were talking about?
It's on the second page, about the second last one.
Development saving
right.
trees, yeah.
Yeah, I had put that under A.
Could also be technically under B, maintain,
Andy?
yeah.
Any others? Keep shouting them out.
I had said plan for greenways to connect trails. It's
Okay.
to the bottom one.
So
And that
let's
would
see.
be, what you just said was B, right?
Maybe? Retain?
Or even BB. wildlife corridors.
Let's see, so what, trail connections
Both.
for, people or wildlife?
Wildlife.
Okay, so, let's see,
And the trails actually serve as corridors for wildlife too.
Right.
okay. All right, so let's see, maintain and increase wildlife habitats and corridors, so. How do we do that? So developing trails,
Or connecting trails. Right?
As for Greenways, connect trails and open space.
so for me, for connecting trails, I feel like that's more of establishing corridors for people to utilize, protecting those areas that you're developing the trails in would be, for me, protecting wildlife corridors. So putting that, identifying locations where trails could be built, and conserving or preserving that land so that it's not developed.
Yeah.
How do we put that into words?
Yeah.
I mean, identify,
Yeah, identify
D, try towards
maybe,
open space.
habitats and
okay, identify habitats to protect or preserve. So sort of maybe a prioritization list.
yeah.
And then, let's see here. Utilize funding to acquire those lands. If acquire and preserve lands to increase wildlife corridors. And then for the people aspect, where would you put that? Under passive recreation?
Yeah,
Yeah.
DB.
Okay. And then, construct new trails. And connect existing trails. Okay. And we can rework all of this. Okay.
I feel like a lot of them are saying the same
Same
thing.
thing, yep.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Parking.
take care of the trunk line and give us more access to it with better parking,
Yeah.
you know.
Alright, so let's use parking.
And same with like increased development of town land parking and trail access.
Which is really all we care about, because we're just town.
Right.
So where would you stick parking? Under E, maybe? Utilization?
Yep. Increase utilization of town resources.
Okay. Expand parking. Do we have specific locations or just generally?
Say, trailheads.
Trailheads, okay.
It kind of says both. There's one that says for,
Near trails or trails.
Yeah,
But once you make a
and then
parking area that,
and there's one that says town-owned lands.
Okay.
So, one we can maybe do something about, the other we have to work with somebody to do it.
Any other ideas that jumped out?
concerts on the common and the free concerts, I put
Yeah.
that under EA.
Okay.
And we were just talking about that yesterday, too. That we're surprised the common doesn't get used more.
And Ken's like, this is a beautiful space.
Yeah.
And
So
there's more
let's
benches than people up
Yeah.
there.
host
Some of them to-
free concerts and movie nights at the Common.
Do something like that.
Good. Recreation Department Committee.
There, up the road from there, up past to the right of the church up there, there's a place called the Pastimes Club. that the Boy Scouts own, and they're redoing it. It's an old hunting club.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a really neat building. They could use some ADA money, just like the library.
The community garden space could go, under AA.
Sure.
Remote-
Yeah,
protected
that's a
from
good
local
idea.
Agriculture.
Develop a community garden.
They were talking about that blue zone. Is that the blue zone where everything is all green and healthy to?
Yeah,
It makes, it proves that you were a
your mental
healthier
state,
person.
yeah, and your mental state is
Yeah.
better too. Yeah. We have some people in town that might oppose it.
Probably.
Martin Road Park expansion, that could go under D.
Okay. Let's see,
Okay.
existing. Anything specific with that, or just sort of revamp that area?
Yeah, like brace the bleachers. They're just, you sit on them and you go backwards.
Repair or upgrade
Anchor bleachers, you point them in the right direction.
bleachers at Martin. Oops.
I don't know how much space there is up there for land, so maybe, I mean, you've got your playground area, but then maybe making a, like this lady was talking about in Bellingham, because she said they had the play area, then they had an area where like the kids could do a small like track trail type of thing. They could do loops with their bike, but they could still see them.
Okay. So, let's see, maybe investigate the feasibility
More recreational
of
opportunities.
installing a track at Martin Road,
I would call it track.
walking loop.
Just more you know, maybe up a little bit from the littlest kids to have the other kids, you know, bop around or
Yeah.
whatever too.
Yeah, just an old quick track path.
Walking /
path,
bike path or something like.
walking or
Biking.
biking loop around.
Yeah.
Activity.
Yeah, something like that, because that's what she said, it was kind of neat that the kids could just do that.
Okay, so I got construct walking or biking loop around
For small children or
at
something,
Martin Road Park. Okay.
And I know they just, Numbers built a skills park at
Mhm.
West Hill Dam.
I cut that out of the paper, that was amazing.
Yep. So I don't know, something like that would be an idea
Right,
for
it's-
Martin Road, just on a smaller version.
A skills park?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a better
Mountain biking.
idea. More well-rounded.
Skills park.
That would attract people there, you know, maybe.
And
Jump course for horses?
Mhm.
Pass.
Yeah.
all right, anything else from here that we can pull out?
How about development saving trees?
Well, so we put that one, develop and implement a tree
Tree
protection
protection bylaw.
bylaw.
Oh, we did that already,
Or
okay.
something else if we think of something, better to prevent clear cutting lots.
Bathrooms?
Bathrooms.
I don't know, you
Let's see,
know,
where
that's an
we-
iffy one.
Yeah, you gotta get plumbing to half of these places.
Well, not necessarily,
potties.
Porta
Porta
the,
potties, yeah.
no, they've got the composting, that's what I was looking for,
Yes.
composting.
Mhm.
There's quite a few companies that, I think Clive,
There used to be one at the boat ramp.
that make them, and I've
They
seen
took away.
some of the national parks that they're, actually, Army Corps of Engineers has got one on their property too.
Any specific locations that we want to increase bathrooms, or just?
You know, you think about the largest places that people go to walk, and then there's like no room to park. How are we gonna put a toilet in there? You know.
Can I say after you improve parking?
Yeah, yeah.
Have a bathroom.
But I mean,
We'll
I
put it
could
as a
see,
lower priority.
you know, maybe you could, like, if there was a big to-do up at, well, are there bathrooms up at the Up at Martin Road?
There's that one,
Oh, yeah.
and it's
Right, that's
accessible.
right, it was up
although
top,
it's,
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know how somebody would get to it.
Right, yeah. Yeah, we pushed the ADA thing on that one.
Yeah. All right, so I wrote down install bathroom facilities or porta potties.
Even with just for, on call for an activity or something like that, you know, if there was something, occasion at the common.
And let's see, how about in high traffic recreation facilities around town? Okay.
And sidewalks on Main Street, that's the last one I checked.
Okay, so where would we stick that? I would say you could either I might stick it under E and increasing utilization.
That's where I put it.
Okay. You could also, let me put that there, so, what do we do for sidewalks? We create a sidewalk
DB.
comprehensive sidewalk plan. And then what we could do to get some of these climate resiliency goals or actions, for the sidewalks we could have bioswales in them, so then you're sort of reducing flooding and storm water as well. All right, so I wrote down under goal C, objective A, identify locations to install sidewalks with bioswales to reduce stormwater runoff.
The whole thing with the unpaved trails, we wanted to just stick in someplace. I think that would be very good for preserving the rural character of the town.
Okay, let's see which one.
We needed an objective, a goal of preserving
Yeah.
that.
Okay, maybe I would stick that either under maintain historic character and scenic resources, or open space preservation. It probably fits under goal A, objective C, but we could also squeeze it under D.
Yep.
All right, so what would be this one? So partner with who owns that? DCR.
Yeah.
Yes.
Partner with DCR.
EC.
That's what I was looking at.
For what?
EC.
EC. Oh, yep. That works too.
That's where I was sticking it.
Okay.
Go in all three because it's really important.
Yeah.
Partner with DCR to
Keeping it unpaved would
this is the
maintain
SNET.
historic character.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, if we
But
put the
we
tracks back, if you're gonna. Make it harder for the horse.
We're gonna partner with them to change their
Which they don't.
minds.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else that we missed from the public forum?
So is that whole thing not happening, he said? Ken?
Yeah.
So no
No
improved
more
parking.
pavement. Yeah, I don't know what,
No.
yeah, instead.
Questionably improved parking.
We're gonna put cement down instead, yeah.
Well, one that I think we missed is markers on the trunk line trail.
Well,
So
that's-
signage.
I think they've been putting them up lately.
Yeah,
though.
they do.
Okay.
They
They've
have,
been, they've been.
All right.
They have, they
That's
right
state.
on marking all the trails. The only other thing I wanted to do was on the, where the gates are when you cross roads. I just did a trial
Yeah.
thing on where U Street, so when you come up to the gate, I put U Street Douglas.
Mhm.
So that if anyone's out there, they
They
know
know where they are.
where they were.
Mhm.
And I just haven't expanded it. That's a partnership with Bay Riders Association
Mhm.
to expand that.
Yeah.
Okay,
So but that is on the radar.
okay, so let's see, so, maybe
It's pretty good when
awareness?
You get credit for completing something in our
Yeah. Another
open
points,
space.
yes.
Well, see, the funny thing was that development plan that they came up with for the railroad bed to pave it, they were taking down the gates. And they weren't putting up bollards.
People would be driving down there, yeah, I would anyway.
No lie, I was right, I parked my trailer at the end of the street here, and some lady came in a convertible and drove down the trunk line.
Oh, really?
I'm like, where the heck is she going?
Yeah,
And I
because
think
there's
she
a few
must have
places
been
that don't
following
have
her
any gates.
navigation, because she got about
Yeah.
past Sue's house.
Yep.
And stopped, and then she turned around and came back out. She was like, wouldn't even look at us, because we were like,
Yeah, I'm too embarrassed.
yeah, and it was I was like, no, you can't see me.
Her GPS probably told her to do that.
And people do that, they drive right off bridges or something. But my
Okay.
Matt told me to do it.
Anything else from the public forum? It's okay if not, we got a bunch of actions from that. All right, so next step we're gonna do is go through our survey results, specifically the open-ended questions that we asked folks who responded. So we have on the page number 3, unmet open space needs that folks mentioned. On page 4, we have unmet recreation needs. And then on pages 4, 5, and 6, we have just any catch-all improvement suggestions that people provided. So why don't we take, there's sort of a lot to get through here. Take the next 5 minutes to read through and do that same thing, highlighting certain actions that we like. I think similar to the public forum, a lot of these actions are going to be recreation focused, though like we did before, we might be able to finagle them in some other locations. All right, so go through, highlight them. You don't need to prioritize them right now. We'll do that at the next meeting. And then just let me know when you've sort of gotten through.
They did say that, Ken said that that was a private league or whatever that plays soccer up behind the VFW. It's not a
Okay.
town thing. So.
Someone we can check off if we already,
Yeah, so I'm not even doing the ones that we already.
I only got one on the first page.
Have a target range in town.
no.
You can close it in town, right? 'Cause
Got one on Walnut Street. But, you know, there's plenty of shooting there. But, you
it's not a
know,
really.
you have to be a member.
Yeah. You have to do to be a member.
In some places you can pay a fee just to go there and not be members. You could actually shoot.
Right.
You don't have to.
Could pave trunkline trail, though, if you local horseback riders are against that.
I tried to take out any unnecessary comments. but I missed some.
Yeah, or the next one that just says access.
Oh, yeah.
Why would they Morse Pond parking lot? That's right.
It goes from one asking for more barriers to motorized vehicle use, and then the very next one is allow motorized recreational use on streets.
So that's easy. It cancels each other out, right? No need to consider.
There isn't a playground or anything fun to do.
Serious?
wonder if we need to like, I guess the trail maps would do that, but like let people know, because a lot of these things are about the state forest and
Mhm.
it's DCR, and if DCR gets all this feedback, maybe we should put it all in a letter and mail it to them.
Mhm.
Because we're all saying the same thing, the trails aren't maintained.
I think some of them, you know, I walk on those trails a lot, and if there's a tree down, it's gone, but,
Yeah.
you know,
I think the butters probably,
I think our new supervisor is very good, yeah.
yeah.
I know there's a lot to get through, but, you know, whenever you're done, just let me know.
We wanna do like one section at a time.
Sure, yeah, we can start off with unmet open space needs. I think a lot of the stuff in here is probably more recreation focused anyways, but it's usually the more.
One of the stuff would be like a small, like a splash pad, a small area for town residents, that's on another page.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff is like, okay, if we have an area like Martin Road, is these suggestions that, to expand, to maybe work into that there? I don't know, or if we ever get another piece of property, then that's something to be considered for it.
Somebody did say that you should expand Martin Road.
Yep. But there's a lot of things I'm seeing, the tennis courts, the
Yep.
splash pad, tennis and pickleball courts.
Yep. The sports field.
You know,
Sure.
they're not
Volleyball.
expensive items, I mean, maybe
Mhm.
grading for it and
Disc
whatnot.
golf.
Mhm.
So I think all of those, put them in a, this is what people are looking at. Okay, some maybe we can fit into Martin.
Mm-hmm.
Then if we could get another piece of property that might be conducive to some of these others, that could be added there.
I think what you could do to sort of simplify that is say something along the lines of identify a location and construct or install a pickleball court. And that way, you know, it might be at a new location that the town acquires, or, you know, it's Martin Road or, you know, some other property that the town already has. Do you want to combine all of those facilities into one action, or sort of separate them out, you know, maybe put together tennis courts and pickleball and, you know, have a splash pad be another thing, since they're different sort of features, amenities.
We could group them and say,
Yeah.
we want to divide them into areas that have appropriate size and locations for those things.
Yeah. this is-
Because maybe there's no water out of Martin Road, you know, you don't want to
Yeah.
drill a well or
Right.
something like that, but
Okay.
just group them later and,
Okay, yeah, so let's,
Yeah, group them together, then separate them out later as land could be available,
Mhm.
like what we could put there.
or what we can find on, you know, Amazon, it's a cheap, you know, disc golf thing, you know, and stick it in the ground, there you go.
Yeah, because I wonder, Hodges Village Gym doesn't take up much space, the disc golf. I mean, they've got one in that field and one by the thing, and I think one up on top of the hill. So there's four in there? No, five, because it's way at the other end of the field at the corner. Which could be doable someplace, depending on.
maybe at Manchos.
Or
Big open
Union Street.
field?
Oh,
Yeah, you know, the only access I noticed, I wrote down, the only access is just,
Yep.
because it's just a panhandle,
Mhm.
really, to that piece of property in the
Mhm.
back. Which is too bad, because
There's
it's
a
a nice
hill.
field. There's like
You have to go
stone
these stone
steps up
steps that are like
on your way to
straight
Manchester,
up.
yeah.
So would that be something that should have been dug out of there
Yeah.
to make it
Actually,
straight?
Ken said that they have been digging, it's just a berm, you know, it's
Yep.
a glacial thing, and they've been working on it, taking it away over the years, but
I wonder if they could start like further
maybe a
down.
tunnel might be better.
That was still up high, wasn't it? Where we saw the little salamander sign.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Not as high, but
I wonder if there's a way they could snake up, you
Yeah.
know, instead
yeah,
of
sort of regrade
the
it.
stairs are like
Yep.
you can call them stairs, there's big stones.
See, that's the piece of property, that's a tiny little
Oh, this
panhandle.
is?
Yeah,
Oh,
and that's
yeah.
the gas line that runs through it.
Oh, yeah.
It's just,
Yeah, that's,
Mhm.
yeah, put them together and then we can work on identifying.
Yeah, you could do a couple things in that field.
yeah. Yeah, it's just, you know, you don't wanna
You
bring
could do
heavy
the
things up and over it, you know.
Frisbee golf or whatever it's called, you could do.
Pump up water from the river and use splash pad.
Yeah.
Alright, so I've got disc golf, tennis and pickleball, and a splash pad. And I did put splash pad, separated that out and put it under provide recreation opportunities to a diverse range of interests and abilities, and wrote down identify location and construct a splash pad with handicap accessible features.
I think that one that you were talking about at West Hill Dam would fit under that too. The,
Oh, the disco?
no, the skills.
Oh,
The skills part.
skills.
Skills would be for, you know,
So like a
Um,
skate park.
a variety of
It's a
of
mountain bike
abilities.
skills,
Mountain bikes.
mountain bike skills park.
It's like they have,
And
you
they've
know,
got-
a bike, a bunch of wood all along, and they're
Yeah, for a
riding on the
curve type thing.
side and stuff like that.
Alright,
Yep.
so identify
And
location
you
and
could just add
construct
skills,
a
yeah.
mountain bike,
Yeah.
biking, skills.
That would be also a partnership, definitely with NEMA.
Right.
With who?
NEMBA.
New England Mountain Bike Association. Blackstone Valley Chapter.
Plus, I mean, they have trails, I'm sure that we could, you know, we used to do trail maps, we've done trail maps in the past. They have a lot of them, I'm sure, they cut them out all the time over there. But again, that's the state rule.
Okay, anything else on the first page that we want to note?
Designate right to farm community,
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. That was definitely.
so that would be AA.
To recreation program for children. I don't know if we've addressed that one way or the other. I don't know what that would be.
Little league teams, and my daughter was in, she did T-ball. That's a T-ball group. Texas Girl Scouts. and-
DA.
Yeah.
DA, what was the action?
Children.
Recreation programs for children.
Like summer recreation or year round?
Dream big.
Okay, year round recreation
Yeah, rules in the
program
winter too.
for children.
See, I can
You
be
know,
in control
could
of
be,
that.
you know, cross-country skiing or snowshoeing.
Oh, yeah.
For kids or something like that, so.
Learned a horseback ride?
There.
Pony rides at Becky's.
Another I saw too, the outdoor physical fitness circuit.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to
Oh,
use,
yeah.
using the trunk line, but I kinda like that. I know way back when at Northfield Mountain used to have, when riding up there, they had different exercise stations. So you could, you know, do whatever you're out
Mhm.
there doing, then get off and do your push-ups or sit-ups, and then continue on to the next one, and I thought that was pretty cool.
They started, remember, they started that, not sure what it was, but they had little storylines
Oh,
along
the
the
storybook,
trunk line.
yes,
Down by,
yeah,
Depot
off
Road.
Depot Street, Depot and, the next street up, yes.
Maple,
Yeah, I think that was through the cultural program, something in town here. Storybook walk, so that what they did was they had those
The
little.
library.
The library, yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that was pretty cool too.
This
Storybook
summer at
walks
the
on the
Orchard.
trail.
The Orchard has really taken off for having
Yeah.
people there. I mean, I've
Yeah.
gone to concerts there that are awesome, and there's like 150, 200 people there
Mhm.
at this local orchard.
Okay.
We can hear them in our backyard, so.
Yeah,
we just
you don't
sit
have to leave, yeah. Yeah,
Oh, it's
Tom
the Rolling
Petty, some
Stones
of them are
time.
pretty bad too. There's one, oh, I feel bad.
Yeah, that place is getting really popular, and people
Yeah.
are blueberry picking, apple picking, raspberry picking.
He can tell you how many
Good place for
blueberry
kids.
donuts we sold in one, 2 years.
All right, we're gonna move on to
Right.
the,
Unmet.
yeah, next page, page 4.
Maintenance of current playground, DA.
Yeah,
Maintain.
yeah, I put maintenance for trail maintenance.
For maintenance, is there any sort of a maintenance plan that exists that you're
Mm.
aware of?
Isn't it,
Ken
it's,
saying the town comes up there to mow it and stuff like that? I don't know what their schedule
Yeah.
is, but there is something.
yeah,
Okay.
Ken did
they're
say
not
something.
overgrown, but
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly what they meant, 'cause I didn't think it looked bad up there.
yeah, or even, you know, Soldiers Field, someone obviously mows that for the games and
Yeah.
everything.
Oh, here's the one I saw. We need more money for Douglas baseball so we can build more fields and so we can host tournaments. We also need to make Martin Road bottom field a multi-use turf field.
Because it doesn't look like it's used at all. Yeah, I checked that one off too.
So maybe like something like assess Martin Road fields for
Right.
multi-use
Yeah.
or something
Okay.
like that.
Renew Martin Road and plan for additional facilities.
And that would be what, D, right?
A lot of fishing and boating, but it's like you have to buy the pond and all that kind of stuff, and it's not, you just don't have those resources in town here to do that. So, I think that's kind of out of luck. Public pool, indoor recreation center.
Skate park, I don't know. I know who built it, who was in charge of getting it going, but I don't, it must be broken up. It's right at the entrance of the old high school, so.
Oh.
No, the old.
Maybe the
the
school
elementary
owns it?
school.
Maybe the school
Yeah,
owns
it's
it?
on school property.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in a part of the parking lot. It's pretty small.
Under provide recreation opportunities to a diverse range of interests.
Or maintain, you know.
Partner with the school to upgrade and maintain the skate park.
Possibly for the Target Ranger partnership with maybe the Beagle Club. Maybe get a program for youth shooting, or youth archery.
Yep.
Beagle Club?
Blackstone Valley Beagle.
To host archery classes?
Yeah, programs like youth shooting or youth archery.
Okay.
They're a dying breed, they need more.
What else here? Do we want to address ATV or motorized vehicles? Seems like it's split of whether if you want motorized vehicles or not, and maybe it's worthwhile to designate dreaming big, designating an area for ATV
Is there still one
use.
up off of 146A?
I think that was shut down.
Yeah.
That was private, that was shut down. We're limited as far as like all the state forest trails and the railroad bed, those are automatically non-motorized.
Mhm.
What we have in town here would not be conducive. I mean, if
Large
you
enough.
were able to buy a huge gravel pit that wasn't being used anymore or something like that, then they could use that in that area to play with.
Okay.
I don't think,
There is a big gravel pit down on South Street, right at the Rhode Island line. Between Orange Street and South Street, behind that cemetery there.
Hmm.
And it is used as a turnpike area.
Oh.
I don't know
who owns that or who, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the land that we had to sign off on, a lot of little lots along Orange
Mhm.
Street, and a lot of them back up. There's a pond back there.
Yep.
Where's that located?
It's surrounded by, say, the Rhode Island, Orange Street, and South, I would say off South Street.
Gravel pit.
East
off-
side of South Street on the Rhode Island line.
Okay.
There's a cemetery in there too.
Okay, so that's.
I think Rosenfeld Cement might own it now.
Okay, so I wrote down under provide recreation opportunities for a diverse range of interests, explore feasibility of acquiring and converting the gravel pit off South Street into a motorized vehicle or ATV trail. Is that what you would call it?
Don't call it park.
Park? Okay.
Don't call it trail.
ATV park.
The snowmobiles can go in the state forest, can't they?
Yes, they can. They are allowed. They have a whole different set of rules and regulations. Even though they're motorized,
Mhm.
they need a
It's
snowpack.
different, yeah.
So it's not impacting the
Yeah.
the
Right.
ground, which is also frozen at the time of year. But so there's different rules and regs for them.
Anything else from this unmet recreation needs?
Well, better trail maintenance, I don't know if you got that or
I think we kind of covered that with,
not, with the other previous.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is there a trails committee in town?
We
Would there
talked
be
about a
interest in,
subgroup of this, but then we
like
have
having
no
trail
group.
volunteers, stewardship program,
I would like it.
maybe more reliable to maintain the trails as opposed to the state?
At
least more local anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
town
trails
trails.
now.
I think it would be a good idea for the town to have.
Okay, so
So
maybe
there would be more people involved with, you know, because there's so many things that we would like to do with the Keegan property, to expand that and stuff like that, so.
all right, so I put under passive recreation opportunities, well, maybe it could fit under partnerships, develop a trail stewardship program. All right, anything else, or, yeah, the swimming and boating ones might be a little more difficult.
You know, the pools, I mean, all those are big money things. I mean,
Yeah.
we can't have a Layton's Community Center.
All right.
Somebody else
Alright.
coming with a hand.
Oh, yeah. And these
need a-
3 giant warehouses, can we not skateboard in them in the evenings?
Yeah, exactly.
They'll be going 24/7.
All right, I do want to be mindful of the time. It's 2:19. Don't wanna keep you for a 3-hour meeting or
Yeah, 'cause I
something.
have my doctor appointment at 3 o'clock in Milford.
Okay, so do we
I have to get here.
want to save the remaining suggestions for next meeting, or
Yeah.
I think we can blow through them quickly? These ones are a little bit more involved in
Yeah.
the suggestions, so might be worth more time to read through them. Although I think maybe some of the stuff we've already
Yeah, there's
addressed.
a lot that's-
Look through. I say Soldier Field needs lights. Maybe, I mean, it would be evening activity down there.
Yeah, all right, install.
Bike trails would be nice, you know, on maybe some of the roads or whatever, but.
Okay, so like a bike lane?
So people could get from one thing to another without having to drive, or, you know, kids could get up. But you look at Martin Road to get to the playground, there's no way you can go up Martin Road on a bike.
You know, all the roads around me are,
Yeah, yeah.
you barely get 2 cars past each other,
Yeah.
and I put a bike
Barrel,
on.
yep.
Past CPA. With the pond behind the VFW is, we were just there.
Open land and spaces for hunting, and hunting the whole Douglas State Forest fire.
Plus, there's a lot of large landowners in town that either allow it or don't. You know.
Which, a lot of these comments just show me that a lot of people aren't aware of what we have and don't have,
Right,
you know
yeah,
what I mean? So
exactly.
I think
Yeah,
trail maps
education.
would be huge, I think, you know,
That's any way to
Maps that
find
show-
recreational spots in town.
maybe if we had somewhere on our site, maybe we could say, if you want trail maps, go to DCR, you know, or something,
Yeah.
improve our, just put more information on our
On the-
website that says,
Well, we have a trail map that we could
Yeah.
update too,
Yeah.
but it's kind of small for all the places.
Maybe just having a landing spot on the town's website that lists all your different recreation destinations, different parks and
Post the trail
facilities.
map there and-
Right.
Yeah, you click on it and it shows a
Yep.
little map where it is, yeah.
List out all the properties and what amenities they might have with them.
Mhm.
Yeah, basically, the only ones we didn't supply are the groundwater, the extreme temperature and drought impacts, and winter storms, severe storms.
Ought that be under the, that report, the MVP report? Recommendations?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that on my list to bring that to the next meeting, and I think those will probably cover our climate resiliency goal
Right.
actions, and probably even protecting the town's natural resources too. Okay, anything else from that last grouping there that we want to get down? I've got the website listing off the destinations. I put in under maintain historic character and scenic resources to adopt the Community Preservation Act, because historical preservation's one of the components. I think you could list it in quite a few different places on here, but we didn't have anything for that, so I stuck
Yeah.
it there. And then in addition, I put in develop an outreach program to educate the public on the benefits of the CPA, because I think unless you do a lot of
Yeah.
outreach, it's never going to pass.
Yep.
Be the last one in the state.
And did I write down anything else? No, that was it. Oh, and then I put under increase utilization, install lights at Soldiers Field to allow for evening use.
It'd be nice to have one place if we
They had night lights there, I guess I was mistaken.
Yeah. Anything else?
I think we've covered it.
Okay. I think a lot of this stuff sort of repeats.
Yes.
Okay,
Same
so
thing, a different name,
I think we got a lot of actions. Hard to see here, but it's everything in red. Oops, is an action. There's a few spots that we still need a couple actions for. We might even consider breaking this one up into 2 different objectives, though I think it's fine if you want to keep it in one. But yeah, lots of good suggestions. So next meeting, we will continue this action plan development. So we're gonna review some suggestions that we generated during our ADA assessment. See if we can squeeze some of those in there. I think we touched on some of improvements at those facilities, but there are some other things we might want to mention too. Want to review the MVP actions, because I think a lot of those we could plug into our more natural resources and climate related objectives. And then we will finish the rest of our action plan. So identify the responsible parties, prioritize the actions within each objective, and then identify how long we think it'll take to complete those actions. And so with that, we'll want to develop what that criteria is for both the priority rankings and the timing rankings. And then if we get to it, with each of the actions, we want to identify a funding source. If we don't get to it, if our meeting's running, over 3 hours, we'll instead, I can go through and put down funding sources. It's usually what I do for the other towns that I work with.
Cut the time down if you want.
Yeah. Other things to keep in mind, so we've completed our ADA checklist assessment. We just need those remaining documents, and then we should be all set with that. And then, you know, after we develop our action plan, we're pretty much done. I'm anticipating that, you know, depending on when our next meeting is, I think we could review a draft of the plan maybe mid-October. And then after you guys have a chance to review it, once we sort of get it into a good enough shape that we feel confident about, we'll want to get letters of support from the Board of Selectmen or the Planning Board. And so sort of however they want to do it, if they want us to come to their, you know, a future meeting, you know, at the end of October or early November and present the plan, so like a similar presentation that we did during the public forum, we could do that. If their agendas are swamped and they don't want to sit through a presentation, you know, I can send them a PDF of a presentation. We'll send them a copy of the draft plan, and they can review it that way and, you know, decide to send us a letter of support, you know, without us going to a meeting. So really up to them. It's not required that we go to a meeting, though. So in half the towns I work with, we do a meeting. Other half, they just send us a letter of support.
I don't think they're not gonna, you know, they're not gonna turn it down.
Yeah, I
see
haven't
it as
had
a
any
positive thing,
turn them
yeah.
down. So it's just more if they want us to talk it through, or if they're just fine flipping through some slides on their own.
Okay. Have fun at the dentist. Oh, eye doctors, that's better. Well, maybe.
So at our next meeting, maybe we'll talk that through more and see if we want to present, you know, find some time to get on their agendas.
Minutes from the last one.
That's not the minutes.
No, you're good. But yeah, so we'll talk about that more at the next meeting, but just keep that in mind. And, you know, if you're chatting with the Board of Selectmen or Planning Board anytime in the near future and want to gauge what their preference is, that'll help us. But, you know, like I said, either option works. We can just send them the plan and they can look through it and send us comments if they have any, or we can go to the meetings and present it.
Okay, I'll figure out when the meetings are.
And yeah, that's really all that's left. We'll need a letter of support from CMRPC, which is easy, kind of redundant, because I wrote the plan, or I'll be writing the plan. But that'll be easy to get.
Guess we can't really figure out when our next meeting would be.
I'll block both of those off. I think I'm free those days anyways. The 11th and the 18th. October 18th, 2 p.m. Oop, sorry, at 1 p.m. All right, and then that's all I have.
What are the dates again?
18th and 11th.
Yep.
In October?
Yes.
I can't do the 18th, but I can do the 11th.
Okay, well, should we just shoot
Should
for
do the 11th, yeah.
Okay. And then see if the other guys can do it.
Put that in my calendar.
Next weekend is October, right?
Okay. October 11th. Perfect. Okay. Good?
I'm good, Okay. I make a motion, and entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
I can't vote, so.